Massive earthquake devastates Southeast Asia. A catastrophic 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck Myanmar near Mandalay, causing widespread devastation. Tremors were felt in neighboring Thailand, where a 30-story building collapsed in Bangkok. The disaster has resulted in approximately 150 deaths, 144 in Myanmar and 8 in Thailand, with many more injured or missing. Authorities in both countries have declared emergency zones and initiated large-scale rescue efforts. Thousands of people have been displaced, and rescue teams are struggling to reach remote areas due to damaged infrastructure. International humanitarian organizations have pledged aid, but the scale of destruction has overwhelmed local authorities. Relief efforts are currently focused on providing medical assistance, temporary shelters, and food supplies to the affected regions. Israeli airstrikes in Gaza kill hundreds. Israeli airstrikes have intensified in Gaza, hitting multiple areas including Gaza City, Khan Yunis, and Rafah. Reports indicate over 591 casualties, including a significant number of women and children. The Israeli government asserts that the strikes target Hamas infrastructure, but international observers are voicing concerns over civilian casualties and the worsening humanitarian crisis. Hospitals in Gaza are operating beyond capacity, struggling to treat the injured with dwindling medical supplies. The United Nations has called for an immediate ceasefire, urging all parties to prioritize civilian safety. The situation remains dire, with thousands displaced and ongoing bombardments making humanitarian relief efforts extremely difficult. U.S. launches airstrikes in Yemen. The United States has carried out airstrikes against Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen, leading to multiple casualties, including civilians. The attacks come amid escalating regional tensions and ongoing diplomatic efforts to ease hostilities. The strikes have raised concerns about further destabilization in the Middle East. Analysts warn that continued military action could lead to broader regional conflicts as Houthi forces vow retaliation. Yemen, already suffering from one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world, faces worsening conditions as food shortages, disease outbreaks, and displacement continue to rise. The international community is urging diplomatic intervention to prevent further escalation. Global markets face economic turmoil. Financial markets worldwide have been rattled by ongoing trade wars and geopolitical instability. The Trump administration's proposal for a new minerals deal with Ukraine and the threat of auto tariffs have prompted Canada to warn of potential countermeasures. Meanwhile, oil prices have fallen due to demand concerns, and the IPO of tech company CoreWeave has underperformed, adding to investor anxiety. Central banks are closely monitoring inflation trends and interest rate policies as fears of a global recession grow. Economic experts suggest that prolonged trade disputes and geopolitical tensions could lead to sustained market volatility, affecting job markets and consumer spending worldwide. Journalists facing deadly risks in Gaza. Gaza has become one of the most perilous locations for journalists, with over 170 media workers killed since 2023. Foreign reporters remain barred from entering, leaving local journalists to operate under life-threatening conditions amid continuous bombardments and increasing suppression of press freedom. Several media organizations have condemned the targeting of journalists, calling for international action to ensure their safety. Reports indicate that press freedom is under severe threat, with restrictions on independent reporting and mounting risks of detainment or attacks against media personnel. The situation underscores the challenges of documenting conflicts in high-risk zones where access is severely restricted. U.S. consumer confidence dropped sharply. Consumer sentiment in the United States has fallen to its lowest level in 2 years, fueled by concerns over tariffs, inflation, and job security. The University of Michigan's latest report shows a decline from 64.7 in February to 57.0 in March. In response, stock markets have reacted negatively, with the S&P 500 experiencing a 2% drop. Rising costs of goods, particularly fuel and food, have contributed to economic uncertainty among consumers. Many businesses are also voicing concerns over potential supply chain disruptions due to new trade policies. Economists warn that prolonged uncertainty in consumer confidence could lead to slower economic growth and impact employment rates. These key developments highlight ongoing global conflicts, economic instability, and humanitarian crises shaping the world today. As governments and organizations scramble to address these pressing issues, the coming weeks will be crucial in determining the direction of international relations and global economic stability.